Hey everybody, it's Randy Ray, the Literate Texan, coming to you from Driftwood Ranch with another tag for Tag Tuesday. That's right, it's not midnight yet, so I've got time to do one more tag. And I was tagged for this. Well, I'm not sure who tagged me for this. Okay, you know what? I'm going to update the description down below first thing in the morning with all the details about who I'm tagging, who tagged me in this, and so on and so forth. But I believe this, okay, there it is. I was tagged by Genre Books, and Aaron Read a Book was the creator of this tag called the Booktuber Name Tag. And what he's done here is he's converted several booktubers with cool names into prompts asking for books. So, for example, the first name on the list is Books I'm Not Reading, which is a cool, Books I'm Not Reading, which is a cool username for a Booktube channel, and it's a cool channel. I've watched it, and I love it. But this was converted into the prompt, a book that's been on your TBR forever. The TBR is a to-be-read list. And Moby Dick has been on my to-be-read list probably since I was 21 or 22 years old. So you know, over 30 years on my TBR list. Made it the first one I came up with. The next one, number 2, Novel DEA. I'm not sure who that is, but it's the prompt is a book with an interesting premise or plot device. And I chose Sandman Slim, which is the name of the first novel in the series, but it's also the name of the entire series. And Sandman Slim, the premise is this, okay? This guy's in a coven of witches and warlocks. He gets sent to hell, even though he's not killed. He gets sent to hell and becomes an assassin for the various demons there, as well as a fighter in the gladiator pits of hell. Somehow he manages to get back to Earth to figure out who in the coven sent him to hell in the first place and why, so that he can take his revenge. And of course, a lot more is revealed. There's a lot of world building in it. And anyway, I thought it was a terrific premise. The series is written by Richard Kadrey. I believe the series is finished now. I've only read the first book, but it is top notch. So yeah, if you're looking for some kind of urban fantasy that reads really well, it's hard to go wrong with the Sandman Slim series. Number 3, Revenant Reads, another favorite channel of mine. A book where someone has returned from the dead. The first thing that popped into my head, Interview with the Vampire, which I just finished reading not too long ago by Anne Rice. A book that I had read in junior high. They don't call it junior high anymore. They call it middle school now. But at the time I read it, I was in junior high. But yeah, I revisited it for Horror Mayhem. And, you know, it was about like I remembered, honestly. My 54-year-old self did not have a vastly critical, different eye than my 14-year-old self in this particular instance. Number 4, CriminOlly, a book where a crime takes place. I just took a random look at my shelves. Black Dahlia by James Ellroy is sitting over there waiting to be read. I understand it's a novel, but it's based on a real-life mystery, real-life murder. So it's unanimously agreed to be excellent. Not sure why I haven't gotten to it yet, but, you know, that explains. Yeah, I haven't participated in this whole Read What You Own challenge, but I could definitely qualify as a book hoarder. But anyway, yeah, it's just one of the books that I've hoarded that I mean to read but haven't gotten to yet. Number 5, Book Time with Elvis. Mark at Book Time with Elvis is a friend of mine. This prompt is a book about time travel, or Elvis. Okay, so I'm going to go with a book about a character named Elvis. I'm going to go with Bubba Hotep by Joe Lansdale, which is a book that I've mentioned here before. The premise, which is also a really cool premise, is that at some point towards the end of his career, before his death, Elvis swapped identities with a really great Elvis impersonator, Sebastian Haff. And but the Elvis impersonator had a heart attack before he could, you know, swap identities back. So Elvis has continued his life as an Elvis impersonator, and he broke a hip, and he's been in a nursing home for years, and he can't convince anybody that he's the real Elvis Presley. Anyway, and, you know, to top that off, there's a guy in the nursing home who thinks he's the Lone Ranger. There's a black guy who's convinced that he's John F. Kennedy, and they have to team up and fight a mummy. So, yeah, and it's probably even weirder than that. I'm probably leaving out a lot of stuff. Number 6, the middle of the book march. Your favorite book that you read in March. March was an interesting month for me because I spent most of it in the hospital and I didn't read very many books in March. I tend to average 8 to 12 books a month, and in March I only read 3. The only good one that I read in March, and it was really, really good, was Terms of Endearment by Larry McMurtry, which was absolutely terrific. Yeah, anything by Larry McMurtry is good, is what I've started to discover. Even the bad Larry McMurtry novels are good novels. There are going to be people out there who disagree with that, but that's okay. I'm okay with it. Number 7, Book Buds, a book with a great friendship. All right, I've already got Larry McMurtry on my mind, but is there a greater friendship than Gus McCrae and Woodrow Call in Lonesome Dove? It's definitely right up there. You know, you could, if you wanted to get really, I don't know, literary theory about it, the friendship between Sancho Panza and Don Quixote, is the template for all the superhero sidekick Batman and Robin type stuff, and it's a great example of a friendship. But not every friendship represents a mentorship in that way. And I like the fact that the two characters in Lonesome Dove are basically equals with a completely different philosophy of life, who still love each other and are good friends and colleagues. Number 8, Obscure Book Adventures, a book you love that never gets talked about. Okay, well, I love a book called Everything Matters by Ron Curry Jr. It's a novel about a guy who knows exactly when the world's going to end. He's just got voices in his head that are always right about everything. And knowing exactly when the world is going to end, does anything he does and does anything his family does really matter? That's the question posed by the book. That's the question that's posed by the voices in his head. And I think it's a wonderful book. To say that it's not talked about very often is a little misleading because I talk about it all the time. It's my favorite novel. But, that could change at any time, too. Number 9, Savage Reads, a monster, a beast, or a human who acts like a monster or beast. Again, I'm going to go with something that I read just recently, Silence of the Lambs by Thomas Harris. Terrific thriller. Buffalo Bill, the main villain of the piece, certainly acts monstrously, as does Hannibal Lecter. Although Hannibal Lecter is certainly a more charming and interesting monster. He's more of a supervillain than a monster, especially when you get into the other books about him, which, are basically fan fiction written by Thomas Harris. A lot of people might disagree with that too. Number 10, a book that fits your own channel name or the name of a channel you love. My channel name is Literate Texan. So who would you think of when you think of a literate Texan? Well, obviously Larry McMurtry. And you'd be surprised, but Larry McMurtry never wrote any novels named Larry McMurtry. Luckily, though, someone has written a biography about Larry McMurtry. So that biography is the book that I'm going to choose. And I've got it here on my Kindle, and I've started it, and it's good so far. And I feel a real kinship for Larry McMurtry because, for one thing, he's from around here. He's from near where I live. But let me get you the exact name and the author of this biography. I think it's the only biography about Larry McMurtry. And it is going to be, there it is, Larry McMurtry, A Life. And the author's name is Tracy Dougherty, New York Times best-selling author of The Last Love Song. Finalist for the Pulitzer Prize, too. Anyway, definitely a literate Texan. Far more literate than I am. But he didn't think to register the YouTube channel, did he? This guy got it, though. That's right. So tomorrow morning, first thing in the morning, I'm going to update the description below. I'm going to tag several people. I'm going to mention again who tagged me. I'm going to include all the prompts. And I'm sorry I'm not getting that tonight. I'm filming in a different room than I usually do. And, I'm behind on filling out those descriptions for all these videos, but they will be updated tomorrow. I'm having a good day today, but the last couple of weeks have been rough. Even though I've managed to post videos consistently, I hadn't been feeling that great, but I'm feeling good today. At any rate, I will be back with more videos on more topics. Who knows what they might be, although they'll probably be related to books. And given the month, they'll probably be related to Westerns or Dune, but maybe Star Trek. We'll see. And until then, I want to ask you to stay hydrated. Definitely want you to stay sexy. And I want you to read something cool that lights up your soul, baby.